Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've meant to make this video a couple weeks back. I realize that I've been really busy. I haven't had time to make car videos because of work. And I've been busting my butt off lately. But thankfully this week, business has been slow and I've been able to enjoy a little break. So why not make a car reveal video? So I've owned this new car for 3 weeks now, and I like it very much. There are only a few things that I don't like about it. I will cover them in this video, but they're very minor things that I could live with. And I've had cars where I've had to deal with that before, and one thing that I have never seen in any of the cars I've owned. So what did I get exactly? Well, my only hints were that it was an Audi and that it was all electric. And no, I did not buy the e-tron SUV. I wanted to buy one. However, the dealership I tried buying one from was very sketchy, so I vetoed that and sought other options, one of which being an actual Audi dealership in St. Charles next to the Mercedes dealership there where we get this car serviced. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and reveal the car. I got a 2022 Audi Q4 e-tron, certified pre-owned. It had 35,100 miles when I purchased it. It now has just under 36,500 miles, so I've driven it a lot already, but mainly to commute to work and back, and work for me is 50 minutes away from Oswego. So, but the nice thing is I can go from here to work and then back 2 times. Only takes about 15% of the battery each trip. So I can go from 80 to 20% in 4 trips, as in 2 there, 2 back, without having to go to a supercharger. And the car did come with a home charger. It's 120 volts, so it doesn't charge very fast on this. Right now the car is at 78%. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in just to show you what happens when you do plug it in. So when you plug it in, you have a status light. If it's blinking white, that means it's connecting to the vehicle and preparing to charge. And if it's pulsing green like it is now, it's charging. And if the light is off, or in some cases solid green, it has charged to the designated charging target, which I've set for 80%. You don't want to go above 80% with electric vehicles because that could actually degrade the battery at a much faster rate. Industry experts, as in electric vehicle industry experts, have said that you should not charge above 80% except when going on long road trips. And generally speaking, after you finish charging to 90% or 100%, you should go on your trip immediately, because again, it's one of those things where you don't want the battery to degrade fast. So by driving it, you are preventing the battery from sitting at 100% for an extended period. Speaking of which, if you are leaving the vehicle parked for, say, a vacation and the car is not going to be driven, you want to store the car with a battery charged between 30 and 80%. So no less than 30, no greater than 80 to, once again, prolong the lifespan of the EV battery. But yeah, this has been a really fun car to own, even in the first month. One thing I don't like about it are these brake drums in the rear. I have never had a car with drum brakes ever, but one alleviation to that problem is the fact that most of the braking is handled by the regenerative braking system in the vehicle and not the foundation wheel brakes. And on top of that, that prolongs the wear and the service life of the brake rotors and drums. in this case because it has front wheel disc brakes and rear wheel drum brakes. One thing I found interesting, and I didn't know this until I purchased the car, is there's no park pawl in the transmission. So every time you turn off the car, it sets the parking brake. So you have an option to set the parking brake yourself. That is, if I can zoom in on it, this button right here, right in front of the gear shift slider. Okay, it's not focusing all that well, but I'll show it in another video. So you can select that, and that automatically puts the vehicle into what it calls park. So anytime the parking brake's on in this car, it's in park, but really it's in neutral with the parking brake on. Now, interestingly enough, the e-tron GT, which is the flagship Halo car version of the e-tron with high horsepower, that does have a park pawl, and that's because Audi knew customers of that car were going to drive it on the track. Let me just get the lights back on here. And one of the rules when driving hard on the track, if you're going to be using those brakes a lot and heating up those rotors, you do not want to set the parking brake when you finish. And so how do you achieve that? Well, with a parking pawl, of course. And in this case, the Audi e-tron GT having a parking pawl, the way you engage that without setting the parking brake is simply by opening the driver's door while stationary. Because once again, there's no park button. You have a parking brake button, which will again automatically engage park as well when activated. But the difference is there's an actual parking pawl, and you can park that car without the brake on since it has one. Whereas this, with the absence of a parking pawl, there is no way to park it without the parking brake on. Which I like because you should be setting your parking brake anyway, and these cars are not really meant to be driven on track. And if you look at Tesla, they don't use park pawls in any of their cars. So whenever you put a Tesla in park, it's actually in neutral and the parking brake is automatically applied. But anyway, moving on. This is a very nice blue, very similar to that of my mom's Mercedes. It's actually hard to believe. We have owned this car 8 years, and 2 years' time, this car might be mine. I might plan to buy it off my mom if she agrees to sell it to me, because it's been nothing but good to us, and I want that legacy to live on in my possession. So anytime, for instance, this car would be in the shop, if I owned the Mercedes and say they didn't have a loaner, I could just drive the Mercedes around, or I could drive that on road trips instead of a rental car. These are all hypotheticals, but yeah, right now I have a temporary tag. I could not transfer my old license plates over, which I think is a little unfair because I have seen other EVs with non-EL plates, and the dealership selling it to me claimed that I needed EL plates since this is a fully electric vehicle. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty much going to call BS on that since I've seen other people rolling around with standard license plates that don't end with EL. But new license plates are on the way, and I should get them within the next 2 months, theoretically speaking. Because this expires on the 8th of October of this year. But yeah, what else is there to say? The only other thing that I don't like about this car is the fact that the steering wheel is manual tilt and telescoping. There is one other feature that I wish this had, and that was ventilated seats. But again, something I can live without because the AC works pretty darn well in this car. Legroom is good. The interior is very luxurious, and you know, it's a really nice car for being the cheapest EV that Audi produces and being heavily inspired by the Volkswagen ID4, I'd say I got a pretty good deal for what I paid. I paid $34,000 for it before taxes, minus trade-in, of course. And I'll talk about the unfortunate loss that was my last car, having it for only 1 year and then selling it in another video. I was planning to talk about it in this video, but if I did, it was going to extend this video and be long and boring, so I figured I would just save that for another video entirely. But yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say right now. The car has been to the dealer already, as you saw with me having an A5 loaner car, and that was because, well, when I was running some paperwork over to the dealer, I noticed that my time and date were wrong in the central display, but they were correct in the driver's display. And so I thought, what the hell was going on? So I figured since I'm already on my way to the dealer, I'll pull it into the service bay and see what they think about it. And they said there's a software update that will fix that bug, since they were not able to correct the issue at hand that day. So they scheduled me for Monday this week, which was just 2 days ago, so they could give me a loaner and then work on the vehicle to address the issues. And they gave me a complimentary wash as well as an inspection, which I thought was very nice. It took under 3 hours in total, and as a courtesy, I made sure the gas tank in the A5 was full, because I figured if they're doing all this for me, I can at least be a good Samaritan and fill the gas tank, because it's a small price to pay for everything that I've gotten. And I know a few of you guys are going to have split opinions on that, but that's mine. And, you know, like I said, it's to be a good Samaritan. But other than that, I'm not really sure what else to talk about right now. I just wanted to reveal this car and see what you guys think about it, because I really like the idea of not having to put gas in this car, especially since gas right now is getting expensive again. Granted, not nearly as expensive as it was 2 years ago in the summer, but not having to buy gas at all is a really good thing, especially, like I said, since prices are hiking. And even the price of diesel just recently went up. And when the price of diesel goes up, everything else, even stuff that are not related to gas, goes up, like groceries, for example, because obviously it costs the trucking companies more to run their trucks, and the trucks use diesel. And the saying America runs on diesel comes from that very saying, or comes from that very concept, trucks running on diesel. And obviously, if those trucks need to refuel with diesel and it gets more expensive, operating costs also go up directly. So if you're wondering why there were a few shortages of groceries during the COVID-19 pandemic, that was probably why. It was one of the reasons why. It's because diesel got expensive, and then gas got expensive, and then groceries and all that other stuff got expensive. So, yeah, but enough about that. That's really all I wanted to say about this car. I do think that it is miles better than the ID4, especially considering both these cars new. The Q4 e-tron is not that much more compared to the ID4, and considering I got mine for about $20,000 off MSRP, since it's a certified pre-owned, I'd say I got a pretty good deal. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.